I don't know about y'all, but that music gets me hyped up. I've been watching Criminal Minds for about 20-ish years now, so I thought I'd put that information to good use and rank the 17 BAU members. There might have been a few one-offs that I'm missing, but these are, for the most part, the 17 that I remember. I've watched the show a ton. But that's enough yapping for me. Let's get started.
There's whale poo, and then there's you.
Introduce you to someone. This is Agent Jordan Todd. She'll be taking over for me while I'm on maternity leave.
At number 17, I have Jordan. Jordan was barely in the show and never seemed to fit in with the rest of the team. She was JJ's replacement while she was on maternity leave and got in trouble immediately when she went into the field and lied to a victim, which was a big no-no to Hotch. She just never seemed like she was going to do well in the show, and I guess I was right because as far as I know, she's never made an appearance again. A lot of people on this list are low because of how little time they're on the show, but I think Jordan's mismatch for the show would have been more apparent if she had been in more episodes. At number 16, I have Elle. Elle is the lowest character on this list that has had multiple seasons on the show. I never liked Elle. She was kind of mean and a bully to Reid sometimes, very combative at all times, and, I don't know, killed someone in cold blood. To be fair, that guy absolutely deserved it, but when you're in a position like that, you can't do things like that. Something about her just kind of always rubbed me the wrong way. I never felt like she was really contributing much to the team. Like Reid and Gideon were the brains, Garcia was tech, JJ wasn't even a profiler yet but was killing it in her role, Hotch was the leader, and Morgan was kind of the brawn all the time. So that didn't leave much else for her to do in every episode. I can't even think of a time when they caught the bad guy because of something she did specifically. If there was an episode like that, please comment and let me know, because I'm curious, other than maybe the guy she shot. But Elle was always my least favorite long-term character on this show.
I just feel like he's winning if I don't hate him.
At number 15, I have Seaver. So now I'm getting into characters that are mostly this low because they weren't around much. Like, I don't think Seaver was bad at all on the team. She had a very unique way of looking at crime scenes because of her father being a serial killer, and that was super valuable to the team. But other than that one episode where she shows up and they find the dad in that neighborhood, I can't really remember many scenes with her. She got along with the rest of the team, though, and there was even a slight hint of a love interest for Dr. Reid, but nothing came of it. That man just is alive to suffer. I think if we had more episodes specifically tailored around her, like they've had for other characters, I don't know, it would have definitely helped her stand out more. But I certainly don't dislike her character. I just wish we would have gotten more of her.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
We had a plan for her dating.
This is not a date.
I have 3 guns, by the way.
At number 14, I have Kate. Kate to me was similar to Seaver, but with more episodes and more storylines based around her. We first see her busting some creepy guy, and she seemed pretty great at her job. She has one of these silly forced backstories that they give all the main characters, so the specific case they're on is more personal to them. For example, her first case with the team is a plane crash, and her tie to it is that her sister and brother-in-law both died in 9/11. I don't know why they don't think we can, follow and have empathy without this, but I digress. She's a good team member and gets along great with everyone, but knowing it was Jennifer Love Hewitt playing her, I knew she wasn't going to be around for very long. And wouldn't you know it, she got pregnant and left by the end of the season. I like the tie-in story with her niece, who she raises, was targeted by trafficking groups because of, how much damage she has done to their network. I thought that was a good few episodes, and the build-up to it was pretty interesting. Not subtle by any means, but interesting. One last thing I want to say is I hate that her niece's friend is named Markayla. I don't know why, but that always just really annoyed me.
I won't need a gun.
At number 13, probably my hottest take on this list is Hotch. Let me tell you, I have no idea why they wrote Hotch to be such an unlikable dick. Don't get me wrong, he has his moments of levity where he cracks a joke or joins in on the fun, but other than that, he's just an angry face that wears a suit most of the time. He was, though, in my opinion, the best leader of the BAU. I think Prentiss, Rossi, and Gideon were the only people to lead at one time or another. But, well, I think JJ maybe at one point, and Morgan, but, actually lead it for a long time. I don't know. I think he was the best at making sure everyone knew he was the boss and not to go around him for any decisions. Because of this authority, he gets them through troubling waters again and again. I also really liked his storyline with the Reaper. When I tell you I was shocked when I first saw he actually killed Haley, wow, I'm just glad Jack survived and grew up to be a terrible actor. But all the years of fights and then them tracking each other was just, I don't know, super cool. I just wish they didn't write him to be such a dick. Fun fact though, he was written off the show because he tried to fight one of the producers during an episode that Gibson himself, the actor, was directing.
I thought I'd check out where we keep the paper clips around here.
At number 12, I have Walker. You know, Walker is such a middle-of-the-road character for me. I feel like him and the next person in this ranking just kind of get forgotten. He is so much like that, and I don't know, they've barely mentioned him since he was killed in an episode, which I always thought was weird. Like, he dies in a car crash from scratch, and after that episode, I think he's been mentioned a handful of times, maybe. Maybe the audience didn't like him or something, because characters like Morgan and Reid get mentioned a ton, even though they're just off doing other things, not dead. Walker's the definition of a C-tier character. I don't know, he never does anything to annoy me, but I'm also scratching my head trying to think of a time that he was the one to solve a case. He's just a really good supporting team member with a wide array of knowledge to help the team. Walker was just there to help, and I liked that he was there.
The origin of nice is 12th century Middle English, meaning foolish or stupid.
At number 11, I have the other middle-of-the-road character, Blake. She's just, I don't know, like I said, another middle-of-the-road character. But unlike Walker, I think she has some specific roles on the team that were helpful. She was incredibly smart enough to be able to engage with Reid and talk to him at least close to his level. This is especially cool because no one's really been able to do that since Gideon left. So she was a very good mentor for Reid. She was also very smart and good at helping when it came to solving cases. I thought that while she may not have meshed as well with some of the younger team members, she, being like an intellectual with Reid, was incredibly valuable to the team. This was especially helpful when she was trying to help Reid find the criminal who kidnapped his girlfriend. All that being said though, Blake is a very mid and average character. I liked when she was on the show, but I think she stayed just long enough to be remembered a little bit, but not long enough to where she could become annoying.
Hi.
Okay. Now we need you to tell us all you can about the body modification community here in Austin.
At number 10, I have Simmons. I really liked Agent Simmons when he came onto the show. I was worried we were going to get another like Morgan type character and they were just going to be super similar, but they weren't. Before he became a team member, he had helped the BAU a few times. I thought he was always super helpful and reliable, especially with his resources and contacts around the world. He's also a family man with his wife Christy and 5 kids. I like that because it feels like he's the only team member that is a family man first and then an agent second, which is nice. I feel like Ben is a nice addition to the team because of how well he vibes with the rest of them. You can pretty much see from minute 1 if actors have chemistry, and he does with all of them, fortunately. One last thing I really liked about his character arc was him taking over for writing stories like Rossi does. It felt very natural and not forced at all. He was having money issues, he was having another kid, and he already wrote a bunch of stories. So when Rossi saw this, he put it together, and the rest is history.
Still gonna have to figure out how to be nice to me.
At number 9, I have Luke. Luke was another character I was worried was going to be a Morgan clone, and thankfully, once again, he was not. He came from a unit that would track down unsubs and fugitives. He kind of took Morgan's space as the brawn of the team, but that didn't mean he was stupid. Many people assumed he was an idiot by how he looked, but he kept keeping up with the rest of the team at all times. Unsubs really loved calling him dumb and calling him like an attack dog, but he always proved them wrong. I always love how his friendship with Garcia has been so far. You can tell there was chemistry there, but Penelope was also worried that he was just there to replace Morgan. Eventually they did date, but it didn't work out, and they just remained friends. Though I could still see a spark between them, and it's possible it still works out. Luke fits in super well with the team, especially with Garcia, Tara, and Rossi, in my opinion. He was one of the one-off agents that managed to stay on the team now for almost a decade. I think the show is better off because of him. At number 8, I have Tara Lewis. One thing about Tara that I've always liked is that she's really dang funny to me. She's the one of the actors who's funny on her own, not from the writing. This makes sense since she's been around comedy. She has comedy experience on things like Whose Line Is It Anyways? Tara is also a great friend to the team and meshed better than any of the other characters that we're going to see, and like the one-off characters. Her proficiency in psychology really helped the team out tons of times, and thinking like an unsub is super helpful. She's used it to help break them and get information that she needs from them. Tara has lasted almost 10 years on the show, and she was even carried into the continuation of the show Criminal Minds Evolution, which is awesome. I'm glad she's been one to stick around because she fit in best with the team, and she is actually the highest ranking character on here that isn't from the first few seasons of Criminal Minds. I think Tara is a great character, and I'm glad she's still around.
Grief counseling? You carried my coffin.
Yeah, I sure did. What was in that thing anyway?
At number 7, I have Derek Morgan. Derek Morgan was definitely my mom's favorite character. Can you guess why? He was the tough guy who always is the one kicking down doors and going after the unsub. I really love that Criminal Minds never let there be a one-note character, though. Like, Morgan was the brawn of the team, but he wasn't dumb. He had years of experience as a cop and was the only one on the team who knew how to disarm bombs, which came in handy multiple times. He wasn't as smart as Reid, but he's a hell of a lot smarter than the average person. But he was kind of like a real-life action hero a lot of the time. He was jumping in front of bullets and driving ambulances already rigged to explode. He always put himself on the line. I always liked his episodes with his old mentor and how that drove Derek to become who he was. It showed that anyone could be vulnerable and he was only human. But one of my favorite parts of his character is his relationship with Garcia. I always loved how close they were and how deep their friendship and connection was. Derek Morgan is one of the best. At number 6, I have Emily Prentiss. Prentiss had one of the most unexpected backstories from anyone on the show. She kind of showed up out of the blue and never did anything to stand out in a crazy way. But despite that, we find out that she's a former special agent with a ton of experience and a super interesting undercover life before she joined the team. She definitely surprised me with her backstory because they kept it pretty well hidden until her ex came to find her. She even hid a lot of her special skills she had just not to tip off the team. She just seemed like a normal person who got the job, but in all reality, her skills were kind of extraordinary. I also like that she left the BAU for a bit and eventually came back to lead the team. With all of her experience and her rapport with the team already, she was a great choice. She's another character that is still around and a main character of Criminal Minds Evolution, the spin-off series. I love how she wasn't there from the start, but she's definitely made everyone on the team her family.
All because your mother was a whore?
At number 5, I have Jason Gideon. Jason Gideon could have definitely been the best character on the show if he had stuck around longer. But since his actor Mandy Patinkin wasn't a fan of the dark theme and tones of the show, he had himself written off. He had a lot of things going for him as a profiler. He was one of the founders of the BAU. He's not quite as smart as Reid, but all that experience makes up for it, and he's still very smart. He's a great leader, and he's a great mentor for the team. He does have some drawbacks, though, like a little social awareness. He lacks it a little bit, and getting in his own head occasionally. But he really took Reid under his wing, and Reid desperately needed someone like Jason to help him channel his genius to the right place. I always wish that they didn't kill off Gideon. I think he could have made for an amazing villain if they were able to get him back for a season as a villain. I think he could have lost his girlfriend or something from a killer, and that could have made him snap and become the most dangerous villain they ever had to face in Criminal Minds. That wouldn't really be in the way Criminal Minds does things, but I don't know, I think it would have been cool. It would have been good TV. But Gideon was a great character and really carried the early seasons of Criminal Minds while everyone else was kind of getting their footing.
My friends call me JJ. You're not my friend. You can call me Jennifer.
At number 4, I have JJ. Fun fact, JJ was one of my first TV crushes ever, and I think her character changed the most throughout the series. She wasn't even an analyst for the first part of the show, but by the middle, she was getting offers to work at the White House and doing special assignments in the Middle East. And JJ did it all through her sheer force of will. She wasn't a mega genius like Garcia and Reid. She just learned over the years and worked very hard to become the agent she is. Her determination was one of the most impressive things about her overall. There have been many times where she could have given up, and most people would have. But she kept fighting, and I don't know, became one of my favorite characters in the entire show. I think her actress is very talented because she's often having to display emotions like anguish, depression, and rage, and that's difficult for some actors. I also love her relationship with the team, especially Reid. Though they could have become a really good couple, they became great friends instead. And honestly, after watching the newest season of Evolution, I don't want to spoil much, but I'm not so sure they aren't going to be a couple, but we'll see. But overall, JJ is fantastic.
Cannibalism as the condition evolves.
Classic cannibalism. Lovely job we have.
At number 3, I have Rossi, the second half of the dynamic duo with Gideon. I always really liked Rossi, because while he's similar age to Gideon and experience, he's completely different. He leads with emotion much more than Gideon's cold logic. Rossi is such a fun and interesting character, and he's always good to make you laugh or give you a gut punch of a quote. I love how unapologetically Italian he is, cooking for the rest of the team. I love how casually loaded he is. While Gideon stayed in the job pretty much until he died, Rossi was out selling books and making bank. I just think it's so funny every once in a while remembering that he's just rich as heck. While Gideon was a great mentor for Reid, and even debatably Hotch, I think Rossi's the kind of mentor for everyone else. But instead of feeling above everyone else, he comes off as a peer, which is really great. Rossi's greatest strength is his experience. He's been hunting or writing about serial killers for most of his life. He even gets them in his head when he can't catch them, and that's a very interesting and fun dynamic. Overall, I think Rossi is one of the best characters. He brings so much to the show, and he was a very good replacement for Gideon.
Look at that. It's me.
At number 2, I have Garcia. Finally, the levity of the show. While everything else in the show, almost every single episode, is just dark and evil, Penelope Garcia is the complete opposite. She is bubblegum and rainbows, and this is incredibly important in a show like this. Not to mention, she is definitely the glue that keeps their team together. She's the one in real life who would be asking them to go out to parties together and get drinks together. She is the glue. She's always asking people how they're doing and how she can help. I always appreciated Garcia for being the break from the evil we always see in Criminal Minds. And I know if I want a break from evil, I shouldn't watch a show called Criminal Minds, but she just lightens the show enough to help. I love her friendships in the show with JJ, but especially with Morgan. Those two were so close that I wasn't sure nothing was going to happen between them, but that didn't end up happening. Garcia is the equivalent to comic relief in most shows, but instead of comedy, she just kind of shows how not reacting to things like murder is normal. She's kind of our point of view as normal viewers at home. I love that she is completely herself and never changes. Garcia will always be one of my favorite characters in the show.
Do that, but do not put the rest of my team on trial for something that I suggested.
Calm down, Agent.
This is Calm, and it's Doctor.
And at number 1, I have Reid, the GOAT, Dr. Spencer Reid. I think Reid's absence from Criminal Minds Evolution is the biggest reason why this spinoff doesn't feel quite right to me. He's such a cool and interesting character. Him being as smart as he is made me want to go off and get a bunch of degrees just like him. But another fun fact for you, he's a lot smarter than me, and degrees are expensive, so that didn't happen. I loved watching him figure out things that no one else on the team could. Between him and Garcia, I bet they have been the reason for about 70% of the people they've saved in episodes. He's also such a tragic character. He witnesses his dad burning bloody clothes as a kid. His dad leaves them. He becomes forcibly addicted to drugs after getting kidnapped by an unsub. His mom is often going through mental breaks. He gets brainwashed and sent to jail, and his girlfriend is killed right in front of him just moments after finally meeting her. Like, this dude has suffered enough, but they keep going at him. I can't believe how much trauma this man has gone through, and yet he still comes out fighting, trying to take down bad guys each episode. You know you're smart when you make the rest of your highly trained and educated FBI team look stupid, and he does sometimes. Not on purpose, but he does. I still want him to end up with JJ so bad, because after all that they've both been through, honestly, they both deserve to be happy. But easily, Dr. Reid is my favorite character in Criminal Minds. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Who's your favorite supervisory special agent? Comment below and let me know, and subscribe for more because it really helps my channel. That's all I got though. Have a fantastic day. Bye.